Let's start in Africa's biggest economy. The National Union of Mine Workers has returned to the negotiating table at the Chamber of Mines, and it looks like a settlement could be in the offing. Now, last night, thousands of miners right across the gold sector abstained from the night shift. Mining operations in South Africa have stalled as the unions stick to their demands for higher wages. As CCTV's Sumitra Naidu now reports, though, the NUM has scaled down its demands for a 60% wage hike.
The National Union of Mine Workers is remaining adamant about its demands. It says that it had asked for a 60% wage increase, but this was only for entry-level workers. This effectively would raise the salaries up to 8,000 Rand, but it maintains that it always asked for 15% wage increases for the rest of the workforce at the mines. Now, it looks like there could be some agreement on this latest offer, but of course a revised offer hasn't come through from the mining companies as yet. So the lockout effectively means that all operations will be stopped, even essential services. So even the workers that do want to go to work won't be able to go to work, and of course they also won't get paid. Now, how the lockout affects the flooding in the mine, basically there are a team of people on the mine that are dedicated to pumping water. So you continuously have water coming through the ground from the mining operations. If that water is not pumped out, then you essentially have this flooding. So what Solidarity is saying is if there is a complete lockout, this team would not be able to get in to pump out this water. Pumping of water is an essential service. It runs 24 hours a day and it runs 365 days of a year. So it's constant, it happens all the time. If there is just one day that you don't have this team on site to pump out this water, then you do have a problem. Flooding is a real threat if this lockout happens.
Now, in Mozambique, the African Green Revolution Forum is underway, starting today. The event, of course, brings together public and private sector leaders to assess progress 10 years after the signing of an AU declaration committing African countries to put more money into the agricultural sector. CCTV's Angelo Coppola is there. He now tells us what strategies are being looked at to improve Africa's food security.
It was 10 years ago this year that the Maputo Declaration was signed by members of the AU. They all undertook to provide some 10% of their public budget towards the development of agriculture, to provide some food security to the continent's people. Unfortunately, as of this year, only 10 member states have actually succeeded in going beyond that 10%. We're talking about countries like Mali, Malawi, Niger, Senegal. These are countries that have actually achieved that, notable by exceptional countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. Stakeholders are meeting here in the capital of Mozambique to discuss ways of getting more countries in the AU to actually better that 10% or at least come close to it. They're meeting here for 4 days, including a couple of site visits, to try and resolve some of the issues that have been hindering the countries from actually meeting those challenges and meeting those targets. I'm Angelo Coppola for CCTV Maputo.
Let's move on to North Africa. The economy could be the next battleground in the political struggle between the Muslim Brotherhood and the current political leaders in Egypt. Sources in government there claim that the Muslim Brotherhood is now applying what's being described as economic sabotage. Here's CCTV's Yasser Kim with more.
Economic hardship has been the driving force behind the uprisings that have displaced 2 presidents in the last 2 years. It's the weak spot that Morsi supporters are hoping to exploit following recent setbacks and the crackdown on its leaders.
Plans were discovered with arrested Brotherhood leaders to target the economy and turn the people on the government. They will sabotage vital sources of income such as tourism, investments and the Suez Canal. Add to this the militant attacks in Sinai as well.
This week, an attack on the Suez Canal was foiled by the military, and a bomb was defused at the main train station in Alexandria. When 4 Brotherhood members were caught with 23 bombs on the way to an industrial city, many were quick to spot a trend that may point to a new strategy from the Brotherhood to sabotage the economy.
The Muslim Brotherhood knows that Egyptians have no more patience. It hopes that by keeping tourists and investors away, there will be no improvements in living conditions and people will topple the current leadership just like they did with Morsi.
The sentiment is shared by a portion of the population.
Morsi blamed Mubarak's remnants for his failure. We don't want a similar talk. We've lost our jobs in the last 3 years and we want improvements now.
as it's about to be disbanded, there was no official reply from the Muslim Brotherhood on government claims that it is trying to undermine its development programs. But with Arab aid at its disposal, the government seems confident of success.
We are adamant to continue on our path with the aim of improving the living conditions of the people. Social justice for all is our main goal.
Experts say for social justice to be achieved, security and stability should first be retained. Economic sabotage might be the new plan of action by the Muslim Brotherhood. But what Egyptians expect after years of unrelenting political and economic turmoil is not finger-pointing by the new leadership, but action to restore the shattered Egyptian economy. Yasser Hakim for CCTV, Cairo.
Now, as far as economies go, if the equity indicators are about to see anything to go by, there's a bit of red ink right across the board in Africa. Starting in Nigeria, the oil share index in early morning trade down by over a quarter. Pretty much the same story really in South Africa, down by almost a 4 percentage point. The bear run in Kenya still does continue. The 20-share index down by 0.46%. And the Egyptian market, where Yasser Hakim, of course, has been keeping tabs on developments in the country, down 0.78 percentage points in early trade. We'll have more comprehensive numbers for you at 1700 GMT. See you then. On to the sports now with Famida.